Um, Mr. Wixom, again, do you believe the exclusionary order would apply to this witness?
I believe it would, Your Honor.
Thank you. Ms. Anderson, then having been sworn, I'm just going to ask, have you watched any of the trial online or from any other source or observed any of it in here?
No,
Okay. Have you talked to anyone else about testimony they've given in their trial?
no.
Very well. Mr. Wixom, if you'd like to inquire on direct, you may.
Thank you, Judge. Ma'am, will you please state and spell your full name for the record?
Janet Andersen, Janet Andersen.
Thank you. And where do you live?
I live in St. Charles, Idaho,
And where is that?
by Bear Lake.
Where did you live 5 years ago?
I lived in Lyman, Rexburg area.
When you lived in Rexburg, what type of work did you do?
I was the secretary at Central Elementary in Sugar City,
How long did you work in that job?
15 years.
Do you recall working with the Tammy Daybell?
Yes.
Can you recall which years you remember working with her?
She started in 2017 and she died in 2019.
Could you describe for the jury what kind of working interactions did you have with Tammy?
I saw Tammy every day, multiple times a day. She was in the library and I would have to go down, deliver notes to the students or take her books to get checked in. Just different handouts we'd have to hand out. So I'd be in her library 2 or 3 times a day, every day.
Would she have occasion to come to the office where you worked?
Yes, lots of times.
Were there any other duties that you had that you shared with Tammy?
Nope.
I want you the best you can. Can you tell the jury what your perception was of Tammy, her personality and demeanor, just generally speaking?
She was easy to get along with. She was very quick to get her duties done. She was very efficient, organized. She was easy to talk to, and she didn't ever have anything bad to say to anybody. And she was a friendly person. She's friends to everybody. Everybody loved Tammy.
How often did you have interaction with her? Was it every day?
Every day. Mm-hmm.
And with respect to her attendance at work, do you recall, was she someone who called in sick or missed work?
I don't
Judge, I'm going to
remember her.
object unless there's some additional foundation.
Overruled.
You may answer.
I don't remember any days of getting a substitute for her. She just wasn't ever sick. She never had a cough or a sniffle or a limp or anything that I noticed.
Okay. Was Tammy ever one to complain of her health or talk about her health?
No,
At any point in time, let me withdraw that. Thinking back to just the last few weeks before she passed, did you ever notice anything about her and her health?
no, she was very energetic. Like I said, she was the Energizer Bunny. She just was everywhere and got everything done she needed to. And
Would you mind elaborating on that for the jury? When you use the word Energizer Bunny, what do you mean by that?
she just never quit. She was always where she needed to be. She had multiple jobs. She was lunchroom duty. She was computer lab, librarian, recess duty. She was always quick to get to wherever she needed to be. She didn't talk very much, stop and visit very much. And if it was brief, and then she went to where she needed to be.
How did you first learn of her passing?
Mr. Garner called me Saturday morning.
And other than possibly grief, what was your reaction to that news?
I thought, how could this be? I just barely saw her Friday at 3:30, 3:45. She was happy. She was healthy. She was laughing about curtains she'd had to put up in the computer lab so the kids would quit knocking on the door to say hi to her. And it was just really quite a shock. I didn't know how it could happen.
When you talk about this, her stopping or putting up curtains, did you have a specific interaction with her regarding that?
Yeah, she stopped at the office on their way out. Her and Emma stopped at the office and told me about what they were doing in the computer lab to put up the curtains, and they were laughing about it, how it's so funny that the kids had to say hi when they just barely saw her an hour before, but they'd have to knock on the window and say hi to her, and they thought that was really funny. Tammy had quite an interesting sense of humor. I loved it. She was happy most of the time about lots of things.
Thinking about that interaction with the curtains, when did that occur relative to her death?
That was at 3:45 on Friday. And I guess she passed away that night or morning.
So as you recall, you last saw Tammy at 3:45 the night before she passed?
Yes.
When you had this interaction with her about the curtains, did she appear sick at all to you?
Nope.
Did you make any other observations about her health?
She was just normal, healthy all the time.
Did she have any appearance of having had a hard work day, tired, anything like that?
Actually, no. She seemed like she had energy, no matter what time of the day it was, morning or evening or whenever I saw her. She just was always on the go.
And then just last question, over the last few months before she passed, did you happen to notice whether or not she'd gained or lost any weight?
I don't think she gained or lost any weight. She looked the same. She walked the same. She was always really fast walking to wherever she had to go. In my office, I would see all the halls, and so I could see people coming and going wherever they went. And they put me in that spot so I could. So I saw Tammy a lot, but she was just always on the go where she needed to be.
Thank you, Your Honor. I have no more questions.
All right, thank you, Mr. Wixom. Cross-examination, Mr. Pryor. Thank you, Judge.
Ms. Anderson, do you have a recollection of being interviewed by Officer Mattingly,
Who's that?
one of the police officers who conducted the investigation in this case and interviewed you?
Well, somebody came to the office and made me write down a report, but I don't remember his name.
Okay. And do you remember as part of that report, you mentioned that Tammy Daybell was somebody who kept to herself?
She kept to herself in the way that she got her job done. Like I
Okay.
said, she didn't stop and talk to very many people for very long. So
Okay, so when you say she kept to herself, it was in her, and I don't want to suggest that it was a shy manner, but she kept her personal business to herself. Would that be fair?
well, she never said much personal things to me, so that's probably why.
Yep. In fact, she never said anything about her health to you, did she?
Never.
In fact, the one person that you would identify who would probably be her confidant at the school would be her own daughter, Emma. Would you agree with that?
I don't agree with that.
Okay. Why not?
I think she had lots of friends. She talked to lots of people, and there could have been a time when she would have said something to one of the other staff members.
And despite the fact that she had a tendency to keep to herself, according to you, you're telling me now that she must have talked to other members but you don't really know that, do you?
Objection argumentative, Your Honor.
Overruled.
You don't know that, do you, ma'am?
I don't.
Okay. But you do know that her daughter worked at the same school with her, correct?
Correct.
Okay. And would you say it's fair to say that her daughter, um, that they spent a lot of time together when they had downtime at school?
No, I don't think they did.
Okay. Now, on the day that you're describing and the day that the Friday, the last day of school that Tammy was there, do you remember the efforts that were being undertaken by Tammy to prepare for the book fair that day?
Yes,
Okay, and there was a book fair that was scheduled, correct?
correct.
And you would agree with me that that required a lot of moving of books and a lot of hustle and bustle that day, right?
Objection, counsel is testifying, Your Honor.
Sustained.
Was it a significant endeavor to prepare for that book fair?
I think so. I didn't really look at people when they did that, but I probably was.
So when
Yeah.
you're saying that you didn't observe, you didn't actually observe Tammy on that day preparing for this book fair, is that right?
Actually, the book fair wasn't that day. It was the next week.
Okay.
So there wouldn't have been a lot of quick work. I imagine she got things organized and sort of got ready for it, but I don't
Okay.
think there was a lot of extra work that would have had to be done on that Friday.
But you're not aware of, you didn't have any specific recollection of seeing Tammy doing anything particular in regards to the book fair, is that right?
No,
Okay. But you don't know one way or the other. You're just speculating. Wouldn't that be fair?
that would be fair. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you, Judge. I have nothing else.
All right. Any redirect, Mr. Wixom?
No, Your Honor.
All right, that'll conclude your testimony then, Ms. Anderson. Are we going to anticipate she may be recalled?
The state would excuse her, Judge.
From the bench?
Judge,